Hello.
Hey again.
I have a few questions regarding love. Um, for Koreans, it's quite likely that for them to say "I love you" in the early stage of a relationship.
I noticed that.
Yeah. First-hand experience.
Experienced that before.
So it's kind of different for Western people, I guess. Could you maybe explain like what you guys has meant differences, how you see the word? Fuck. Okay. 어렵네. 끊어서 하려니까. Ready? Yeah. So, I have a question. For Koreans, it's the words "I love you" is being said quite early in the stage of the relationship, and I realized that for Western people, they end up saying it much later. And is there a reason why you guys are saying the word in the later stage of the relationship?
I think it's because, as we talked about it before, we don't feel the relationship the same way here, as in Korea. Like I said before, I noticed the difference is that here people, when they start seeing someone, they really look for a serious relationship. When in France, actually, I don't know about other countries, but in France, actually, we don't especially look for it. We just like, if it happens, we'll let it happen, and if not, it's okay, you know? So when we say, I love you, it has a very, very big meaning for us. Like, maybe we even value it more than it should be valued, maybe, or I don't know. But I notice that here people have the I love you very easily.
Yeah.
And
I feel like you guys value the word more than the physical intimacy.
maybe, I don't know, because we do value the physical intimacy. We do value it. But saying I love you, we know it has like a big impact, and maybe sometimes we are scared to say it also, you know, because we are scared of that the person may not feel the same, or
Yeah.
so saying I love you is very vulnerable, and yeah, so maybe that's why. Maybe it's because we're scared, or maybe it's because we value it too much, or maybe I don't know.
For Koreans, I think we value physical intimacy a little more. It's kept mostly in the later stages of the relationship. So that's why you establish that you're going to date first. And then once you start dating, you slowly build up and then have physical intimacy in the later stages. So obviously, it might vary from person to person, but I think the word "I love you" has less meaning than actually being physically more intimate. So because I think we tend to think that since you have the connection with the body, it's you already shared more than words. So you didn't have to specify words because you already shared the moment. So that's why I think we value it a little more. And once you have physical intimacy, it is kind of likely for Koreans to say "I love you" after having that. And is there a reason why you think it's a little easier for foreign people to get a little more physically intimate without being actually in a relationship? For me, I feel like if there's a lack of love, I think it's hard for me to be physically intimate with somebody. So if I specify lack of love, it would, if I don't have anything for the other person, I don't think I'll be able to have I don't think I'll be able to have sex with that person. I need to have like at least a connection. Might be something maybe visual, or I don't know, at least something that I can build towards that. Because if you don't have that, then for me personally, it feels like you're kind of using that person as a tool. So in that sense, it feels like I'm kind of objectifying that person. So that's my personal point of view. But so that's why I was curious why foreigners were more, how they approached it and how they were able to be more physically intimate without being in a relationship or without the idea of being in a relationship.
Maybe like, I don't know if it's the same for a lot of people, you know, like as we said before, like everybody is different and everybody feels the thing differently. But for me, I also need the connection, you know, to have the physical intimacy. I also need that true connection, and I need to say that, you know, like you have the person naked in front of you, but you don't want it just like physical naked. You want also like emotional naked, you know?
Yeah, definitely.
And I need to feel like in trust and to feel confident about it, to have it. And I think like maybe the difference is that we are aware that love is not just about like serious relationship, like there are different kind of love.
Can you specify in like what?
Like I think love is not just one thing, you know, it's like very vague. And the love is not just romantic love. It can be way more than that. And so, how should I say that? You can feel something for someone without it to be like romantic love. It can be another kind of love. Just like you have love for your friendship, you have for your friends, you have love for your hobbies, you have love for your family, you have love for your work, you can have love for everything. And I think so when it comes to relationship, there's not just one form of relationship.
That's true.
There are different forms of relationship. So that's why I think you can have this physical intimacy with someone without being in a serious relationship, because you can find something true and something precious with someone without being in a serious relationship, because you both know that you're not a match. And being in a serious relationship, being a couple wouldn't work for you, but what you have right now works very well for you.
So what you're saying is you're just being in the moment while it's happening, right?
Yeah, maybe.
Being in love in the moment and not actually, and not really thinking about what will be in a way. That's kind of how it sounds to me.
You know, like you're not, I mean, like you love that person and you love what you have with that person, but you're not in love with that person, you know? But you can still love what's happening and love those moments and find like something very precious and just as precious as like romantic love, except it's not that kind of romantic love. It's another kind of romantic love.
For me, because obviously I'm a little older, so so one of my friends who I met in the military, he was virgin by choice because of his religion, and then he married to his wife, and then that's when he lost his virginity. And because I don't, for me, like obviously the first time is something really special that's probably ingrained in your brain forever, right? So, since the mental love is so important for Westerners, to have that first and then to save the physical intimacy for later with that one person, I found that pretty special, because if you have sex with many different people, after a while, it's not too different, you know? I know it's obviously with a different person, but just the act itself is kind of different. The only reason why it's different is because it's a different person.
I disagree.
Really? Why?
Yeah, I disagree. Because you can experiment new things with different people depending on what they like and what they don't like. So you experiment new things, and so you discover new stuff, and maybe there's some stuff you're gonna love, maybe there's some stuff you're not gonna love, but it allows you to know more about your body and to know more about what makes you feel good and what.
I think actually that's a real good point. I think because sex is kind of a bit of a taboo subject to talk about amongst couples. So I don't think, obviously not everybody, but a lot of couples don't really talk about their needs that much. So it's likely that they just have a routine. But I found out for the people that I met from friends, they're very open to talk about it, and even to talk about with their friends what their like sexual favorite positions are. They're like, it's not a big taboo subject for them. So they really, you guys are really open talking about it, and then just be open. So I think maybe that's the core difference. Maybe
that's the difference, yeah. And maybe that's why the way you go in a relationship is very different in France than in here. Because here, as you said, you establish the relationship before having the physical intimacy, and in France it's kind of the opposite.
Okay.
And I think that's why. It's because it's not a taboo for us, and we are not afraid to talk about it, and we value it because it's very important. You know, it makes you feel good in your body, and
of course,
it's very important.
Yeah,
and it's important to feel confident about it and to enjoy those moments, because sex can be good, but it can be bad if you're not enjoying it, you know. So it can make you feel very confident and give you self-love, as it can destroy you if it's not in a good way. But like, so that's why in France we really value it, I guess, because we know the impact it can have. And I think also one thing is, maybe we don't want to get in a relationship with someone we didn't have sex before, because we are afraid that maybe we might not. Bad. Yeah, if it's bad sex, you don't want to be with someone you don't like having sex
maybe,
with.
Like you said, you can explore with the person and talk about it. You know?
Of course, but we do that before. And also, I think that by exploring this, as I said before, you're not just physically naked, you're also emotionally naked, and it's a good way to get to know the person in front of you, you know?
I guess what you value is kind of different from Koreans to French people. I actually lean more towards getting to know the person too. And so obviously, like, I would probably sleep with the person and then get to know the person and then establish that I'm probably in a relationship with them too. So I'm actually on your side too, but if that happens like many times, I just wonder, like, was it really worth it? Like me, how I ended my 7-year relationship for new experiences. So you have those more. So once you feel more and more and more, you realize like, it's like maybe not knowing a lot, you were much happier. Because I don't know the exact word for word term, but so like, for say you have 2 flavors of ice cream, you pick one, you're happy. You have 100, you pick one, then you feel regret because you didn't try those 99. Because you were so sure that you were gonna like this more if you had only 2 options. But the more options you have, they say the unhappier you get. So I feel like the more experiences that I have, I feel like I'm kind of regretting too, a little bit in a way. Maybe because if I spend more effort in one person and then really like with the right person, I'm saying, just continually talking about it, maybe I could have had more of a fulfilling experience and a fulfilling love. And so in a way, I kind of understood why some people may choose to become virgins. Like, obviously a lot of people might just like laugh it off, but I found it kind of like in a way quite genuine and beautiful. Like, because obviously at this point I'm like and the opposite side of that spectrum. So I would obviously never know how it's gonna be, but yeah. So in a way, it makes me sound like I'm really unhappy about my sex life, but it's not. I'm just like, just questioning what it could have been and just trying to understand. And since I'm Korean too, I can understand why people value it more to have to keep it to themselves, to, like I said, not to have too much options, then to find out that you're unhappy and then just to be a little reserved. And then with the things you have, be a little more happier and content. But it's just my idea. But
yeah, I understand what you're saying. And honestly, I kind of understand every side of it. I understand that some people need to have a lot of sex with different people.
yeah,
I understand that some people don't want it.
yeah. I mean, we're definitely, everybody is wired differently, but
it's like there is this big spectrum,
yeah,
like you said.
But I think spectrum too, but culture-wise too, because obviously you can tell with a lot of Koreans that's how they go through the stages of love, and that the stages of love for French people is quite different, So might be a cultural thing too, and maybe certain things may not be as taboo as other countries. Like how talking about what you favor is it's a little shunned upon if a woman talks about openly what she likes. People may disagree, but I think they kind of judge them and being kind of slutty, and they frame them as being they frame them into being slutty. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so,
slut shaming.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah, so that's why because of it, the less they talk about it, and then they wanna be perceived more innocent in a way.
Yeah, but I think actually, the more you talk about it, the more you educate yourself about it, and the more you educate also other people about it, and so the more you're gonna not handle it, but perceive it with good intentions, And I think talking about sex is very, very important.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Because sometimes you can feel like you need to relate on some stuff, You can feel like, oh, I just discovered that I like that or that, and it feels weird, and you're like, oh, is there a problem with me? But turns out, when you talk about it with other people, you find out you're not the only one feeling this way.
Yeah.
And it can reassure you, and it can also help, being more self-conscious about everything around that. And then after that, you can accept yourself more, and you will be also more able to accept other people and not judge other people for what they do or what they don't do.
Since you said that you understand both sides, but you still had trouble while seeing some Korean people, since you said you were understanding, why did the trouble actually occur then?
Because I arrived without knowing the different culture of dating life. So
now,
I was I arrived and I did some mistakes, obviously, because I arrived with my French culture about dating life.
Yeah.
Confronting Korean culture.
Yeah.
I was like, damn, there's a real gap.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Oh, so you learned the hard way.
Yeah.
That's what you're saying.
Kind of fell into that gap,
I mean, I can understand. But even though the culture are different, okay, so universally, love is love, and on social media, I see a lot of contents. So there are actually a lot of contents about conflicting subjects, so gender roles specifically in a way, how men have to be like alpha males, how they have to be strong, and women have to play the character of being innocent and to have less body counts. So being young and being innocent is more desirable. And since culture, we established that the culture is different, but we see a rise of Western men wanting this kind of needs in women. And maybe, do you have any ideas why they would talk about certain things like that and why they would want women to be more woman-like and men to be more men-like?
I think it's because, unfortunately, we grew up with content showing us as we were kids, like since we were kids, content showing us like, oh, this is what love should look like.
Yeah.
You know, like when you're a child and you look at Disney movie, or when you're growing up and you look at social medias, or you look at like shows, or like some stuff on TV, on the radio, stuff like that. It started off changing now, but it's always the same thing. It's always like, oh, the man being strong and the woman like just being like more weak or something like that. And so all the thing like is the same. Like all these love stories are the same. And it's like a man and a woman. And like the man is being the man, the woman is being the man. And we have this gender, like people, like society is trying to put you on case depending on your gender.
Yeah.
Since you're a child. And we grew up with that thing. And so we built ourselves with these stereotypes. And I think that's why it's very important to talk about it a lot, because it can break the stereotypes.
Yeah.
Because the thing is, we are lacking in preserving all the kind of love that there is. And that creates a lot of problems when it comes to gender, when it comes to sexuality, like queer sexuality or like stuff like that, because people are trying to play a role.
Yeah.
Because they saw all their life, they saw that this is how true love is supposed to look like.
Yeah.
And because they want true love, they're trying to fit in it. And so they are playing a role. And I think maybe that's why some people don't realize, because nobody told them that this is not true, like this is not true for anybody, and like this is fiction. And nobody can fit it into those walls because they're just an idea.
Yeah.
So I think that's why I think it's very important to talk about it a lot and not being afraid of taboo or stuff like that, like.
Yep. But the reason why I asked was there seems to be a rise in men like wanting more specific gender roles, them playing their part and women playing their part. So I was wondering why that kind of sudden surge is more happening.
I think we don't live in the same world.
Really?
Yeah, because maybe it's because I'm surrounded by a lot of queer people.
Oh yeah, that could be possible.
So I don't have the same perception, and I know that there are still a lot of men wanting that,
Yeah.
women to act like that, and there are a lot of women actually also wanting men to act like that.
Yeah.
But in my world, like in my small world, with my group of friends or stuff like that, we hate that. Like we don't like that. We don't. I don't know. It's kind of maybe toxic in a way.
It could be true. I mean, it depends on which direction you steer it at.
Yeah.
So a woman can be manly too. Like, like have the energy of being very work driven and being ambitious. And then
I think what I don't like about that is that it put a lot of pressure, to try to fit into that wall, because for women,
that's true,
it put like mental charge.
Yeah.
You know, like you're supposed, like you should have the perfect body.
Yeah.
You should have kids, like get married with a man, have kids, and when you have kids, you should stop working to take care of the kid, and all the stuff like that. But you still have to be, you know, to look good for your man and for people around you, but not too good because you're married, so you don't want to attract other men's attention. You know, all this mental charge that is very, like, it's too much. But men also have this charge, you know, like, oh, so you should fit this role, you should be rich, you should be strong, you should not show emotions, because showing emotion is like for women, you know. So don't show emotion, be tough, but also you should treat like, I mean, all this thing about this world, I think they're very bad for men and for women, because they don't allow them to be who they are.
Yeah.
Because, as I said, it's just fiction.
I like to believe so too, but like I agree. If you take a step back, if you don't play the game, if you're not too invested in the game, like you, it's just roles, so it's pointless. But we are living in the world, you know. So even if I say I'm not playing the rules, we're still in it, right? So I can say, oh, I don't want to work out. I don't like, you know, I'll be just be whatever who I am. But that in a way I feel like could be more toxic too, because you're not really truly working on yourself. Like, if I wanted a partner, I would want somebody who I could relate mentally to, but hopefully takes care of them physically too, not just by attractiveness, but it's just healthy body, healthy mind, you know, it goes the same way, you know. So hopefully if I meet somebody, they have it all around. And so the basic idea is this: you want somebody that's really healthy mentally and physically, right? But there's a certain limit. Not everybody can be like that. So that's why the ones that are mentally fit and physically fit get chosen. So it's just, you know, how in my world, in the straight world, that's how we are chosen most of the times. And so by saying most of the times is probability wise, it's easier for you to be chosen if you're in that category. And I don't think anybody would disagree with me. If you like somebody, it's easier for you to be chosen if you are tall, handsome, fit, have a lot of money, successful, and have a great personality, you know?
Yeah,
so,
obviously.
Yeah, if you tick all those boxes, it's more likely that you're going to be chosen. So if you can't tick all of them, might as well tick a few, you know, to level up your game. But if you say, oh, I don't want to play this game, like, I don't care because it's just superficial, then sorry to say, then you're probably not likely to be chosen.
No, I don't mean you shouldn't play the game. I mean, in a way, you shouldn't.
But that's what I'm saying. That's why I feel like it extends into this, you know? Because if you look at the extreme, it doesn't make sense. But I think at the core, it's just you want somebody who is mentally fit and physically, you know, like somebody who's really balanced. But if you go to the extreme,
somebody you're attracted to. But I think like you shouldn't put too much pressure on yourself, because it can destroy you. Because if you put too much pressure on yourself, then you will be more likely to never love yourself, because you will be like, oh, I can even do better, or you will start comparing yourself to other people. You'll be like, oh, that person is playing the role better than me.
That's true, yeah.
That person is doing better than me. And that person is actually thinking the same thing about you. That's the thing, you know? That's why it's toxic. You're comparing yourself to other people, saying, oh, because you want to fit in that world so bad, you know? You're like, you have this obsession of it. You want to fit it so bad that you're thinking, oh, I should work out more, or oh, I should learn more stuff. I should do, I don't know, like I should win more money or stuff like that. Yeah. And you will start being jealous about people you don't even know, because you'll be like, oh, that person is doing better than me, when actually you're already doing enough because you're doing your best, you're trying your best, and that's enough. And some people put pressure on other people because they're doing like, oh, you're not doing enough.
I think you're right. It could be toxic, but depending on the perspective, it could be really positive. So it gets toxic if you compare yourself with others. So because you can't really compare yourself with others. You just have yourself, right? So what you can do is compare yourself to yourself. Were you better than how you were yesterday or even a year ago? So I think it's completely healthy to compare yourself because you're battling against yourself, like constantly striving to be better for you to become your best version, not like somebody else. I think if you have that mindset, it's much healthier. And then, so in that way, you can grow and become a better person. But obviously, if you obsess about it, then if you start comparing to other people, then you have an unreachable goal because it's not attainable to become somebody else. You can only be yourself. So I think it's a mindset, I feel. If you focus, like I said, more becoming on your best version and then manifest that. And since you are the best version for your significant other, maybe somebody who shares the same mentality, who wants to be their best version, comes along your way, and then maybe have a healthy relationship, I guess. But now that we talk about it, I guess the problem may occur because if you're in the extreme opposite side of the spectrum, and if you're really obsessing about comparing yourself to the others deeply.
Yeah, because I think what I was trying to say is that because you started talking about some people think that in a relationship this is how the man should be and this is how the woman should be.
Yeah.
But I think if we think about it, if you really think about it deeply, you can realize that it doesn't help you become the best version of yourself.
You think it doesn't help?
No, it helps. It makes you being the best version of what society wants you to be, of what other people want you to be, but not the best version of yourself. And being the best version of yourself is very subjective. It depends on what you want in your life. And if we are all looking for that perfect movie couple, like perfect stereotype, if we want all looking for that, we will just end up being all clowns. Like we will just be like the same person. Everybody will be the same person. And I think it's so sad because everybody is different and like everybody should embrace the difference. And maybe you don't, like you have your type, you want your partner to be in a certain way. But because let's say you have like the choice between two women.
Yeah.
One is your type, one is not your type. Yeah. And so you will think, oh, the one who is your type is more likable to be chosen, because she's your type. And that's what she represents what attracted you.
Yeah.
But the other woman, it's not because you don't choose her and because she's not your type that she wouldn't be chosen by someone else. Because everybody likes different things. Love is very subjective. And so she wouldn't be chosen by someone who has the same type as you, but she will be chosen by someone else. And you should just embrace your difference and accept the fact that you don't play by the rules because the rules are not made for you. This is not the game you want to play. You want to play another one with
I don't really
rules.
Understand in what you're trying to say by you don't really have to become the best version of yourself. Because
I didn't say you don't have to become the best version of yourself. I said that these rules will not especially make you become the best version of yourself. It will make you become the best version of this player, of the player for these roles, but not of yourself.
Yeah.
I think I realized that because I realized that when I did my coming out, because I'm pansexual.
Yeah.
So it means like I don't only like men, I like every gender. But it was really hard for me to to realize that.
I'm sorry. It reminded me of the video, the meme you showed me. You are gay.
Why are you gay?
Why are you
Who
gay?
said I'm gay? You are gay.
I'm sorry. Why are
That
you
video
gay?
is iconic.
Yeah.
Okay, so the whole interview is actually iconic.
Yeah.
But anyway, so what I was saying is that these gender roles that we learn by growing up doesn't allow people to know to become the best version of themselves, because they don't allow people to know all the possibilities. They only show one possibility, one way to do it.
Yeah.
But how do you want to become the best version of yourself if you're only following one way and don't experiment other ways? And I couldn't become the best version of myself using this way because this way wasn't me. Because I'm not straight.
Yeah.
So I can't use the straight way because that's not me. So I tried to use this way, but I wasn't myself. And so by not letting myself being who I am, I wasn't even respecting me. And you can't become that best version of yourself if you're not respecting you, because self-respect is a way of doing it, and acceptance. So I just created my own way, and I play by my own rules. And thanks to that, I think I'm more aware of how I feel, and I accept it better. And because I learned how to accept my feelings, I also learned how to accept other people's feelings. And it leads to better relationship, I think.
I completely agree with you.
But you have to break the stereotype for that.
Yeah, but I understand that part exists too, and I'm not disagreeing with it, but I'm also know that stereotypes exist for a reason too, because like everything has their reason, has their own way. And I don't mind whoever the person is living their own way, but like you said, you don't have to follow the society's rules if it's not your way. Like they can find your way too. But if your way suits society, because society is you build a society with a community of people, right? So it's mutual things that the majority of the people want. So if you're in the big mass, then it's obviously likely that you follow it. And if you're not in the mass, then you make your own rule, and then you're in that group, and then you find your own way. So I guess both are right in their own way, but it becomes toxic when you try to convince the other that your way is right and not accepting that.
Yeah, but that's the thing. That's what I'm trying to say. You don't want to force people to play by your rules.
Yeah.
So that's why you need to break the stereotype. So you're not being forced yourself to play by the rules that you don't want to play to.
Yeah.
And so you accept that some people may not like your rules. Some people may not fit into that role. So you're not forcing people to do it.
Yeah. But I mean, so it depends on the person, I guess. There are people who have to break the rules. There are people who have to follow the rules. So it depends.
Of course,
so it depends on the individual mostly. So if you're that kind of person, do whatever suits you, but don't force your agenda towards other people, because it's just your way, right?
Yeah, but I think that what really bothered me about this gender stereotype in a relationship is that a lot of people are actually stuck in it, kind of. And
sorry?
Stuck in it,
Oh, okay.
you know, kind of. And so they don't understand that there are other way of doing it. And so because of that, they will judge people who are not doing it, who are doing it the other way. And that will just bring hate in the world, like that will bring homophobia, that will bring slut shaming, that will bring toxic masculinity and all of that because people don't want to break the stereotypes, and don't see that this is just a stereotype. And so yes, you can fit it in, and it's totally okay to fit it in. It's totally okay to want it, But even if you want it, and this is what attracts you, and even if it's hard for you to understand that some people don't want it, you shouldn't judge other people for not wanting it. And a lot of people are doing that, and that's what bothers me.
Have you had any experiences here in Korea, since you said you are bisexual? Any homophobia from people when you told them that you are bisexual?
No, because in Korea, I don't tell a lot of people, not, because this is not the first thing I say when I meet people. Hey, my name is Mary, I'm pansexual.
Hey,
nice to meet you.
Hey, well,
So
I mean, there are people who their sexual identity is basically their personality.
Yeah, I know, but
I know. Obviously you're not, but yeah.
So actually, even my friend from France.
Yeah.
It's funny because. So I used to work at his place.
Yeah.
And the way I came out to them
Yeah.
was very funny because I didn't come out to them. I didn't directly come out to them because I was already out,
Yeah.
So for me, it was just a normal thing. And I didn't talk about it because I had nothing to say about it at this moment. And I remember there was my coworker that came to me, and there was this cute girl at the cafe, just customer, And my coworker, my friend, came to me and said, "Oh, this girl is cute. I might ask her for a number." And I just look at him and say, "Yeah, I will fuck this girl, respectfully." He just looked at me and said, "What?" I was like, "What?" And he was so surprised, and I thought he thought I was joking. And I looked at him, I said, "Be careful, I might ask for her number before you,
Yeah.
And he was like, "What do you mean?" And then he realized that
you were being serious.
Yeah, I was being serious. No, joking.
Yeah,
but,
yeah.
Yeah. It was like, "Why, you're gay?"
Are you gay?
I was like,
you are gay.
I was like, "I'm not gay. I'm bisexual. Actually pansexual, but people understand bisexual better." So, and he was so surprised. But he knew me for few months, But he just learned this way.
Yeah.
So that was kind of fun. But anyway, so I don't, I don't just stop people. I'm bisexual. They just find out when they find out.
Okay, so
in here in Korea, there's not a lot of people who know it because they didn't find out yet.
Is it your defense in maybe not telling them in the beginning, or?
No, it's just you're not going to people and saying, "Hi, I'm straight." So it's the same way. I'm not going to people saying, "Hi, I'm bi."
That's true. Then my other question is, if you don't have to say it, then my question is, for example, gay pride or gay parade. It's totally fine for me that gay people want to be accepted. Of course, I agree. Love is love, so I wouldn't disagree. But some of their parades may seem a little extreme in public. The way that they parade it, how you said.
Because we know how to have fun.
It depends how you would say fun, but well, if my fun is disturbing other people's peace, then
Actually, it's funny that you talk about that because that's something I strongly disagree with, and why people say that when they talk about the pride and they say, oh, we know you're gay, stop bragging about it. But the pride is not bragging about it. It's not about making noise to make noise. It's about bringing knowledge, that, and normalize the fact that
was my
sexuality
question.
is not about just being straight. Like there's
of course,
this a lot of different sexualities, and actually that's the problem. And I'm so happy that this thing happened, like this thing exists, because it is what allowed me to be who I am and accept who I am, because I knew I like girls since I'm a child. Like I knew that, like in elementary school I already knew, but because I didn't have any content to show me what it is, and I couldn't understand what was happening, because since I'm very young, I knew that I like girls, but I knew I wasn't lesbian because I also like boys. And I didn't know what bisexual is or pansexual is. I didn't know about all of this. I only knew straight and gay, and that's it. So I was like, who I am then? Like, what is happening? And I thought, what is wrong with me? And that made me feel terrible about myself. And I actually have a fun story about that. I used to think, because it was so hard to accept myself because of the lack of knowledge about it. It was so hard to accept myself that I used to think, it's okay, I can pretend now that I'm straight, and in another life, when there will be more acceptance about it, I can do my coming out. But in this life, it's okay, I can just pretend I'm straight. So I used to think that this is what's going to happen. But then I discovered pride. I discovered gay content, like people talking about their coming out, like publicly, I discovered like podcasts or movies or shows or songs when it's not just about being gay, like they're not talking about this, but they're talking about relationship with like queer relationship. Like the same way you have like love songs and you can think like it's a straight relationship. You have love songs when it's a queer relationship, but they're not putting the point into the queer relationship, they're just putting the point into the relationship, except it's another picture that you see. And so that all this thing allowed me to have more knowledge about it and to understand who I am. And so that's why I think pride is very important, and every content we see on social medias or on movies now is really important to represent the queer community, so people can relate on that too.
I mean, obviously, education and things like that, I don't disagree with, but for some people who are repelled against the pride movement is because when they're marching outside the streets, it might be too extreme sometimes. Like for instance, public nudity in Korea too, I guess, because it gets a little out of hand, and educational purpose and then being, like spreading the knowledge is fine, but now sometimes it loses its meaning and it becomes more just of a party than actually spreading the meaning. So I think that's why the movement itself, the meaning of the movement and the act of doing it, like it's kind of differentiated, So, and for some straight people, when they just consume it, they just see the picture from the outside, right? So that's why how they see it, and then they're kind of repelled against it because it just seems too overly sexualized and not about actual education. And I was wondering why, maybe it's not the right thing to ask you because you're just one individual, but maybe just because I don't live in that world, so I'm not very familiar with it. So that was my genuine curiosity was why is it like in a way like oppression, like expressing, because it's been so tabooed for a long time. Now that they can actually do it, that's why they're doing it in an aggressive way, in a sense.
Yeah, maybe it's just a way to say fuck off. Now I'm free.
And yeah, but my question. So I was wondering. So if it'd be best to have everybody in peace and harmony, right? But yeah, the way you said it, if you just say fuck off, then the other side won't take it as nicely, you know? So obviously it's gonna be a constant battle. So like
but
more understanding from the straight community too, but also like, you know, could approach in a more digestible way for the other community.
And do you think it will work?
I don't know. That's my question. That's what I'm wondering. So
the thing is,
do you think it has to be that extreme for it to work? Because if it's extreme, it doesn't work anyways.
I think sometimes if you don't make noise, people won't listen to you.
That's exactly what my other French friend said too. Maybe because you guys are from the country of Brazil. Yeah. You're right.
No, but I mean, how do I say that? Actually, I think it's kind of sad in a way.
It definitely is, yeah.
It's very sad because I think like people are more bothered by the pride being extreme sometimes than, you know, gay people being oppressed and being like assaulted, or like having less rights than other people. Like, I think it's very sad because that bothered them because that put them out of their comfort zone.
Yeah.
But when it comes to, you know, gay rights or women rights or like any kind of minority rights, that doesn't bother them. They're like, oh,
but to be fair,
this thing happened and they don't care. They don't care about it.
Obviously, that's wrong. Yeah, because you should be punished if that happens. But at the moment in 2023, so being gay there are people who shun upon it, but it's kind of in the spotlight too, right? Having like different gender, gay, like the community is really big. In a lot of the big movies, it's been shown. So it's definitely in the spotlight, right? A lot of celebrities are coming out. So now you have the attention. So,
but we still don't have the rights.
Well, it's slowly changing though. Even the priest, the Catholic priest, he gave his. I think you can be officially gay in the Catholic Church now.
Yeah, but I mean, I wasn't talking about legal rights. I was talking about. Okay, no, that doesn't give you the freedom. There are still a lot of people who don't have the freedom of coming out because it's too dangerous for them. Because they will be kicked out of their family, their house, their home. They will be rejected by their loved ones. They will be like, you know, they can't walk on a street together, like two men or two women can't walk on a street together without being assaulted, like verbally or physically assaulted. And so I'm talking about these rights, you know. Yes, it's in the spotlight now. And yes, people are coming out more easily, like publicly. But the problem is still here. And it's still like I don't know, like way too present, you know? Like even me, like I remember I experienced some very bad stuff.
Yeah.
Just because I was with a girl. I experienced very bad stuff.
Yeah, of course.
Because people have still this hate, you know? And even though it's in the spotlight now, and we can see on social media a lot of people talking about it, you can think that the problem is solved, but it's not.
But you can't really fix the entire problem. But there are a lot of people who are willing to accept the movement too. So, like I said, it's in the spotlight. So, for my personal view, for it to be more acceptable, I think a more now, you guys, I think it's better to have more of a gentler approach, more of a because it's kind of dangerous if you're in the spotlight, because you crave for power in a way, because you want total control, but total control never exists, right? So since it's going the right direction, for it to continuously go that way, I think now I feel, since it's got the attention, and then not just for gay people, just everything, you know, it could be like skin of color, nationality, like you said, gender roles, about everything. Nothing's never really perfect, so it's always a work in progress. But like I said, like how we said the entire conversation, if you force something too much, then it's never gonna be resolved anyways. And
but the gentle way didn't work either.
Which one?
The gentle way doesn't work either.
It didn't work in the beginning, but now you have the spotlight, so now you have the attention too, and a lot of the big productions are willing to accept, because it's in that movement, right? So it is there. So nobody's disagreeing. It is there now. It's going to that direction, right? So maybe it's an ongoing game. Sometimes you need to be obviously aggressive too, but now maybe it's the time to kind of adjust, maybe to suit it better.
Yeah, because
for me,
it's because we live in countries where it's getting better.
Oh yeah,
it
of course,
getting better. But we live in countries where we have the rights. But you know, I saw something one day. I saw like a TikTok, and I think it was funny, but kind of side topic also, because it kind of reflect the reality. But it was like two guys on a plane, you know. And the TikTok was, POV, you forgot to check if you're legal in the country you're going to. You know? And it was just them Googling if it's legal to be gay in that country. So the TikTok is kind of funny. Yeah, it was kind of funny. But also kind of sad, because it reflects the reality.
Of course, yeah.
There are still a lot of places when it's not legal.
Yes.
And even in places where it's legal, as I said, you still don't have the freedom of being who you are, because you know it's dangerous for you. Because even though it's legal, they don't. I mean, it's legal on paper. Yeah. But if someone breaks the rules and someone does like commit a crime about it, the person won't have like sanctions, you know. They won't take it, the government might not take it seriously. So it's legal on paper, but it's not taken seriously. So what's the point if it's, you know, like, it's like bullshit. They're saying, oh, it's legal, oh, we are advanced, you know, we are developed country, like mentally developed country, we voted for gay marriage, we did all this stuff, we are advanced. But it's just illusion, because in real life, when you live it, you realize that you can't be as free as someone who is straight. You can be as free as someone who has some privilege, because there's still discrimination.
That's true.
There's still a lot of discrimination. There's still a lot of hate. So, yeah.
But, you know, living this life, you're never truly free anyways. So maybe it's not my right to say that you should accept it, but obviously, in a way, I'm a not minority, of course, but me as an Asian person, if I go to France, I'll probably face a lot of racism in Europe. So, even money-wise too, I think. I heard that if you're an Asian person in France, the government screwed you over for money, so one family had to pay a lot of money towards the government because they knew she was from China or something like that. So, and discrimination and, you know, like going against what, like I said, you're never truly free, and if you continue to complain about what you don't have, then it's a never-ending battle, right? So
it's not about it. I think it's just about asking for equality.
Yeah, but can you be truly equal in this world?
I mean, of course, because of some situations, you can be like, there's some stuff where you could never be equal as other people. But when it comes to rights, you know, when it comes to legislation, when it comes to laws, law is supposed to be fair.
Yeah.
But if it's not equal, it's not fair. If you put discrimination as law, then it's not fair anymore.
Yeah.
And this is what I'm talking about.
Yeah, but
I'm talking about treating people the same way, not depending on their sexuality, their gender, or the color of their skin, or their religion. It's like, for example, let's say like paycheck.
Yeah.
Like, this is not normal that women or people of color are less paid than white men. Just because of that, just because of their identity. They're doing the same job. They're doing the same thing, but they're not getting the same paycheck.
Yeah. I don't know.
I'm talking about this equality, you know?
Yeah. For that, it's kind of another sensitive subject because, you know, because you really have to check the statistics, like the stats of how they're getting paid, what job they have, how much hours they're actually putting in the work. So that might be a little different of a subject, but yeah. But what I was trying to say was like you can never truly be equal. The world is not fair. It's not just how it's run. And so my point was, I'm not saying not being not fair and people. So I'm not justifying the wrongs that people have been receiving who are gay. Yeah. So obviously I feel bad for it, but what I'm focusing is like it's not perfect, but like I said, it's going to that direction and it's a good thing. But I was wondering how far it should go. Like how much of it. Because like, you know, you hear in the newspaper there's a 6-year-old girl and she wants to be a man. And then she's going to transition into becoming a man. Like, is it necessarily right for them to is it right for the parents to go through let their child go through like the process of changing their identity at that young of an age? Because
I think that's kind of the problem here too, is that people care too much about putting their opinions on other people's lives.
Oh yeah, of course, yeah.
That's the problem. And I think that's what's wrong about it. Like, what's happening with the girl and the family? It's about them. And who are we to say something about that? We're nobody to say something about that. And maybe she will do it, maybe not. Maybe if she does it, she will regret it, maybe not. Maybe if she or he doesn't do it, will regret it after, or maybe not. But it's not our role to put opinion about it, because it's not about us, and we are nobody to put an opinion about it. And I think that's the problem, and I think that's why that's the problem for a lot of situations. Like, for example, if you want to talk about that, we can also, because you said the law is getting better, like the law is getting better and everything, but actually not really. Sometimes it takes like a big step back. For example, we saw that in a lot of countries, when it comes to women's rights, sometimes I take a big step back.
Yeah.
So that's why we always have to fight about it, because when you have a right, when you gain the right, it doesn't mean it's going to stay like that forever.
Yeah, I know.
It's an endless fight.
Of course. But I'm saying, like, when is the end? Because if it's too extreme...
That's why I'm saying there's no end. It's an endless fight, because you can never take your right for granted. You can lose your rights, like, tomorrow.
Yeah.
You can never take it for granted, so it's an endless fight. And
then does that justify into pushing too far?
Like, pushing too far, like how?
Too far that it's not equal anymore. Because that tends to happen, for women's right too. Like, they push it so far that they want more rights now.
Like what?
I can only give you an example from Korea. So, obviously, there are seats only designated for women, like women designated bathrooms, women designated parking spots. And another like benefit for being a woman in Korea is they don't have to go serve the military. So that's not a sensitive subject, They have those rights, but it's not equal. But no man complains about it. We just accept. And so how far are they willing to push until they, like, it feels, like, how far is okay? That's my question. It's not fair to ask you because you're not Korean, of course, but, in other subjects, I feel like it's kind of the same. You have certain rights, you receive them, and you push more and more and more. Now that you have the power, you want more than equality. You want more power.
Maybe it's true for some people, but I don't know. I feel like, once again, maybe it's because, we all live in our own small world.
Yeah, of course,
We all have our own society and our own small world. So maybe I don't feel like that way, maybe because people around me are not like that. So, maybe I'm just blinded by,
no.
by people around me who are like just nice and just want to be equal, and that's it,
Most of my friends are like that too. But once in a while, you run into those people. I mean, especially online. Online people who leave the most comments are people who have the most energy because they don't spend it because they have nothing much to do. Because if you work like every day, every single day, you focus on what you want to do. You have not much energy to like have like an internet battle online,
Yeah, sometimes when I go on the internet, I say, damn, these people need to get a
job.
job.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you need to get a life, bro. And then, but yeah, they have too much like excess energy. That's why they're like expressing all their energy online. Yeah. But the people, so maybe it's not, to be honest, maybe it's not that fair to just fully base these questions on what was online.
Maybe it's important to know that in every community, there will be extremes.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
In every situation, every kind of, every society, there will be extremes.
Yeah.
And it's important to know that extreme doesn't reflect reality.
You're definitely right. Yeah.
So it's important to not stop at the extreme, because obviously the extreme is always the first thing you see, because it's the most...
It's the loudest,
Yeah, it's the loudest.
Yeah.
It's the first thing you see. So it's important to not stop up at it and judge the community or the cause or anything, like that, any situation, based on the extreme. It's important to continue to go into it, to learn more stuff about it, to educate yourself about it, and to understand the real thing behind it, and not be blinding by this extreme.
That's actually really good. And actually, I'm glad we talked about it because because you could be one of the good examples of sharing that they're not just extreme people, obviously, about the world that I don't know because I haven't experienced it. Not a lot of my friends are gay. I've met one person recently, so it's a unknown territory for me. So it's just like genuine curiosity.
I'm sorry, I just have the song in my head. How can I be homophobic? My bitch is gay. Now you can relate.
Yeah. But yeah, genuine curiosity, and maybe through this talk, maybe I really don't mean to offend anybody. I'm just a genuinely curious soul who wants to know and just hear why it's happened, about the whys and the reasons, just to expand my knowledge and to expand my view of the world, because I don't want to have a narrow view on one subject, and I know that we know that nothing is right or wrong. It's just you're in just that spectrum. Your perspective is steered that way. So I would like to gain knowledge from as many people as possible and hopefully learn, incorporate it, and be a good influence. And you're definitely a very good influence. So
thank you.
I definitely enjoyed the conversations, and you're you're the perfect guinea pig for our podcast. But really appreciate the conversation we had today.
Yeah, same. That's it. I'm putting the reverse card.